Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Rod Mahood, your in-game voice of the Niagara IceDogs, and you're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your podcast source for all game analysis, team interviews, and up-to-date news regarding the Niagara IceDogs.
Perlini! Overtime! IceDogs win! They score! Verhage was also jamming away. It's a power play goal for the IceDogs. And they score! Hosang, first goal as an IceDog. Strom stops Shipley. Richie scores! Gets it to Akil Thomas. Thomas has the angle coming in. He scores!
Welcome into another Niagara IceDogs game recap right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family in all four of their great Niagara region locations. Ben Caputo and Cam Halbert are with you to break down the IceDogs' big 4-3 victory, late victory in regulation against the Sarnia Sting in front of 3,563 here at the Meridian Centre. For a great crowd for pregame ceremonies with Marcel Dion and Brian Cullen having their banners unveiled here at the Meridian Centre for their great hockey careers here in the Niagara region. We're going to hear from IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau on the Wild Bills Auto Repair postgame, as well as our Cully's player interview with defenseman Matt Virgilio and Cam's player of the game later on tonight. Make sure to give us a follow at Dog Pound Podcast on X to stay up to date with all of our IceDogs coverage. And thank you to those watching us today on our Armchair GM Sports Network live stream right after the game, and to those listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. Thank you very much for doing so. So, Cam, this was an interesting game here against the Sting, coming off a horrible loss to the Erie Otters the night before, giving up 9 goals, and Owen Flores, great bounce-back performance, and we're going to talk about all the other players. But overall, from the guys that Ben Boudreau wanted to see have better efforts, for the most part, we saw that tonight all around.
No, much better performance after a pretty brutal one last night against Erie, and a really important game because, again, you're going to have a tough test tomorrow against Brantford, not to get ahead of ourselves, but obviously a 3-3, it's awfully tough to win that third game, so losing tonight would have put a lot of pressure on tomorrow to kind of salvage the weekend, but now they get to head into that on a nice high, and it wasn't all perfect across the board. There was a little scare in the third period, but it was a much safer game. It was kind of a boring one for a little while there. It wasn't a lot going on, but again, a lot of after whistle stuff. Much like what we saw yesterday to an extent, but kind of more reciprocated, and the IceDogs able to get it done against a struggling Sting team.
We'll start it off here with our starting lineup and a deep dive into that. Brought to you by the PHPA, the Professional Hockey Players Association. The road to the NHL passes through the PHPA with their over 1,800 members. Cam, take us through what you thought of the lineup tonight. It was basically the same as last night, but they switched around Max Crete and Mike Levin on the right wing spot.
Yeah, interesting, because I don't think that Max had a particularly bad game yesterday, but Mike Levin moves up to that top spot as they try to figure out some way to balance the lineup. But I'm not really sure if maybe it was to more help out the third line that has been, it's been decent at times, but again, we've talked about the lack of depth with the three forwards out of the lineup right now. That second line had a massive bounce back. So Robrick, Zada, and Doherty, after a -5 night for Robrick, he righted the ship in a big way, and that second line really came through, especially in the clutch, to make sure that they were able to secure the 2 points. But a nice bounce back from the entire team, but most importantly, that second line, which is going to be key to hold off, and like we talked about earlier, just to make sure that we go at least 500 in the month, and the second line is going to be awfully key for that.
What did you think of the decor tonight? Obviously, giving up 9 goals is not something that you want to do on a nightly basis. So for them to really hone it in tonight, I know there was a couple plays where they were hemmed in their zone, but for the most part, they did a good job blocking shots tonight on that Sarnia Sting team from what we saw tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it was just another normal night for the decor. Again, they really don't make a ton of noise in a good in a good way. And I thought that they did a good job in front of Flores. I don't know if it was specifically our end of the ice, but the puck was bouncing an awful lot for both teams, and it kind of led to that kind of sloppy play overall, just not a lot of clean passes throughout. But I thought the decor did a good job. I think that they have settled down, and again, especially after last night because of how rough that went.
And we saw some physical play tonight from maybe some guys we don't expect. We saw Ryan Robrick lay a hit tonight. We saw Kevin He make a couple of nice hits, as well as some great defensive plays that really kept the IceDogs in this game and kept Owen Flores seeing the puck for the most part. But Sean Doherty played against his old team tonight, and you could tell he had a little extra juice on the physical side.
No, it's funny because since Kevin got the C, he has been a little bit more quiet on the physical end. Since then, the last few games, and yeah, he laid a couple of big hits, and when he's finishing his checks, he just gets going so fast that he can lay the boom quite well, and we saw that in the third period as he started to really get going again, and I thought that again for the physical side of things, I thought Robrick, he plays with an edge too, and he's starting to get a little more confident in that. We've seen a ton of that this season. Zada as well. He's been throwing his body around quite a bit, and again, Blair Scott and Virgilio as well. Virgilio had a big hit, I believe, as well in the first period. So again, it's good to see that the team play physical. Max Creed, I saw him finish a couple checks as well, which is always good to see. It's good for the energy guys to get going, and Creed has a ton of it. So very important to keep up the physicality against the Sting team. And again, like I said, the Sting were struggling a little bit. They're without a few key players, including Dorio, who I believe went second overall this year ahead of Wasslin. Second or third. Fitzgerald, I believe, went in the middle of Belchez. I think it was second. Yep. Right? So he's at the under 17s with Wasslin.
And they had no Wainwright either.
Right? So, you look at their roster compared to Erie's, it's not the same. And they gave Niagara all they could, and at one point took the lead in the third. But the IceDogs team very resilient.
We'll get into it with our game stats brought to you by Gales Gas, your go-to gas station in the Niagara region. Not just a gas station or a local tradition, because when it comes to fuel, you're going to Gales with multiple locations across Niagara. Sarnia outshoots Niagara in this game 37-30 overall. As far as the power play, Sarnia 1 of 5, so the IceDogs do a good job on the kill tonight, killing 4 of 5 power plays for the Sting. Niagara 1 of 2 on their power play. What did you think from the shots and the special teams tonight?
Well, the shots were a little misleading because they just weren't a lot of high quality from the Sting. It was a lot of shots from the perimeter. Looking for rebounds, that kind of thing. And Flores was doing a pretty good job of limiting the second and third chances. So that was pretty big. Again, it didn't feel like they were in control. Either team, to be honest with you. The cycle game really wasn't all that prevalent for large sections of the game. And, for a while there, I believe near the end of the second period, it was like 15-15 in shots on goal, so there wasn't a ton of it. In terms of the power play, man, the IceDogs need to stay out of the box early in the game. Again,
Yep.
We'll go over that, but the penalty early, that's the second straight game that they've started a game immediately with a penalty and then given up a goal, right? And it's just a tough way to start the game. It's not a recipe for success. So tomorrow against Brantford, and that's always a really tough game, they've got to stay out of the box a little bit and try to rein that in a little bit.
Face-offs 39-31 in favor of the Sting. And we saw late the IceDogs were able to win the face-off. That got them the game-winning goal from Ryan Rubrick. Rubrick actually, as far as the face-offs go, only took one tonight, won that one. But Loshko, 16 of 30. Zada was 8 of 26, so not one of his best performances on the dot. Ray was 6 of 12. Ray ended up getting hit early in this game up high, left the game, ended up coming back, so he was okay, luckily. But anything stand out to you other than the last face-off of the night that got the IceDogs the win?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Zada improve on the face-off dot. I think it's one area of this game that he hasn't really made that next jump, and it's going to be extremely important because when the lineup is fully healthy, right, he's still expected to kill penalties and things like that, and those are the draws that you gotta win. Lashko continues to do it when it matters the most, which is super important. But yeah, Lozada won the big one to kind of get the game back in front. But again, something that I'd like to see him improve upon a little bit.
As far as the scoring summary tonight, that's going to be brought to you by the Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work in Niagara since 1983. Check out their up-to-date job board at ehc.on.ca to find your next work opportunity today. As we mentioned, the Sting get an early power play, and it was off. It was after the whistle. Callum Chanowski gets called for, I don't even remember what it was, but regardless, he took an after-the-whistle penalty.
Roughing.
A little bit undisciplined there. I know the Sting player initiated, but they're always going to take the retaliator. So Chanowski goes off for the penalty, and then it was a point shot that was deflected by Zach Felak in front to give the Sting a 1-0 lead, and Niagara's playing from behind once again after a power play goal given up.
Yeah, like I said, the penalty the penalty didn't do anything, right? If you're going to lay a hit or something like that's a little bit long-lasting. It was literally just jousting after a whistle early on in the game, and Chanowski got baited into doing it. Now, I'll be honest with you, the refs were pretty good in terms of calling it both ways, because immediately afterwards, or a few minutes afterwards, we got the exact same situation that put the IceDogs on the power play.
And then it was Ryan Rubrick, as Cam mentioned, another after the whistle penalty by the Sting gives them an opportunity, and it's a Jack Barati point shot. Ryan Rubrick ticks it in for his 10th of the season.
So Browdy. Kevin He speeding his way inside the zone. He goes cross ice, Sada up top. Browdy will stop. Gets it to Kevin He. Up top, Browdy with a one-timer. He scores! The excellence of execution. Browdy with the shot. Might have been Rubrick with the tip out front. We're tied at 1.
Thanks to Steve Clark for that wrestling reference on the goal by Jack Brody, but it was tipped by Ryan Rubrick in front, and that's exactly what you want to see from this power play that went 0 for 4 last night and has kind of been struggling out of the gate here.
No, absolutely. And what's funny is that we haven't seen a ton of just shooting from the point. It's usually trying to get the wings. Either it's Lashko on the one-timer or Kevin, or with a shot upstairs and a nice wrister. But it was nice to see them just get pucks towards the net, and Rubrick able to finish off a nice tip to tie things up early.
And then that was the end of the first period, 1-1. We get to the second, and the IceDogs take the lead here in the middle period. And Andre Lashko gets the puck over to Kevin He, and he just, with a great shot, is able to beat the goaltender Szerzika from the Sarnia Sting, and to give the IceDogs a lead with Kevin He's 13th of the season.
And spun around, and the puck will come out with Sim looking cross ice. And if you're wondering, as a Sarnia Sting player, we'll get to that in just a second, as Kevin He will stop. He's spinning, looking to create. Quick shot, he scores! Oh, don't you forget about He on 80s night, and the IceDogs lead 2-1.
Audio goal highlights are courtesy of YourTV. Catch the IceDogs at home and on the road on YourTV Niagara, exclusively on Cogeco. That was one of those quick shots, Cam, and it was kind of fooled a lot of people in the building.
No, absolutely. I mean, Kevin was working around the point, and the defenseman had just let him walk in a little bit, gave him just a little bit of space, played him passive, tried to keep the shot to the outside. And I don't know how Kevin got the shot through everyone. It was a pretty hard screen, and the goalie was leaning to the right, and he was able to just snipe it home. But that's something that we talked about throughout this season, is that last year that shot maybe doesn't hit the net, maybe he misses it a little bit. Now his shot has the same velocity, well, a little bit stronger, obviously, but now it's the accuracy on it is really coming in, and just a very important goal, because I thought that in the second period they came out a little flat again, and they were able to battle back and get that lead and really kind of lock things down for a bit.
Then in the third period, it was 2 goals, a minute 20 apart from each other. Kostic and then Doucette with the 2 goals for the Sting to not only tie the game but give them a 3-2 lead, and it was just a little bit of a broken play on the third one that just kind of ended up onto Doucette's stick after it was the play behind the net. But 2 quick goals by the Sting here, and again the IceDogs just not able to hold there. And at that point, it looked like, okay, is this going to be one that gets away from them here? Yeah,
I mean, you go into the third period up 2-1 after last night, just looking to close things out, and this has been a really, really concerning trend. I mean, again, they got the 2 points, but in a lot of their wins, they have been trailing. I would love to know the actual stat off the top of my head. I can only think of like 2 or 3 wins so far out of the 12 that they have where they have led the whole game. And it's tough because that one, the second one specifically, was a broken play on the breakout, and they were able to just kind of system good neutral zone defense and able to tie things up, and then they immediately give up a goal. But man, this IceDogs team doesn't stop in the third period, especially when it's close. Again, last night was a rare occurrence. We haven't seen a lot of that at all this year, and good on them for battling back. But it was a tough couple of minutes there, and they really settled down.
And then at the 9:07 mark of the third period, Ivan Gallianov, actually I think it was Mason Ray gained the zone, gave it to Ivan Gallianov, and nice to see him be able to set up a play for his confidence. But he finds Ryan Robrick across ice after he gains the zone, gets to the right circle, finds Robrick left circle, and as he's skating kind of towards the corner, he's able to wrist one far side on Serzichka and able to beat him top corner. That was a heck of a shot by Ryan Robrick.
Yeah, he loves that shot, and it's one that he always goes for, and he's missed it a few times. In this game, he had missed a couple of he could have had more than the 3 goals that he had, but you can see it from our vantage point, like where we're looking. You can see the whole top right part of the net open up for him, and he did not miss, and that was extremely important. Again, to kind of get things back, settled down into even against a Sting team that was beatable, and the IceDogs just simply needed this win.
And then at the 19-12 mark, it looked like we were going to overtime once again, but it's Ryan Rubrick off the face-off win by Ethan Zada. So again, wasn't the best on the dot, but able to get that last one. Sean Doherty, the former Sarnia Sting, gets it over to Ryan Rubrick, and he just buries it for his 12th goal of the season, 3rd goal of the game, and the game-winning goal here against the Sting.
Yeah, he gets alone in front somehow, and he makes no mistake, which is awesome. And again, now he's one back, I believe, of Kevin in terms of goal scoring this year.
He could add probably 3 more goals tonight.
Exactly. So, and again, we can't overstate this enough that yesterday he was -5, and we didn't even notice him at all the entire game. Again, that does not look to be a common occurrence, and he took over, and that's exactly what a player of his skill level should be able to do, and he's been doing it all season long. And again, in a game where we really needed the win, he was able to step up.
And we'll hear about it in the postgame in a little bit. Bill Potras from BPSN asks Ben Boudreau about Owen Flores tonight. He was fantastic. 34 saves on the night, and there were a couple of grade A scoring chances where the IceDogs just were odd man rushes. They had a defenseman jump up on the play. The Sting had a couple of what you would call those plays around the home plate and either missed the net, or Owen Flores came up with a big save, or even like a cross-crease save where they tried to go 5-hole on him. He was an excellent bounce-back performance from him.
A couple of breakaways, a couple of 2-on-1s. It was vintage Owen Flores tonight. Again, that's what we've come to expect of him for the majority of his career here so far, which is what made yesterday so tough, because you can't always rely on your goaltender to bail you out like that. And last night was an example of what happens when they don't. And Flores came up massive, and again, a game that, in my opinion, that they had to have. Just for the vibes and what's the situation that they're in right now. But no, he played great, and it was a fantastic bounce back. So I'm glad that it worked out well for him in his bounce back, and we're going to see him tomorrow.
Still haven't lost back-to-back games, and they're in the middle of a 3-3. They got Brantford tomorrow, and again, they're going to want to have to beat Brantford because it's something that they haven't done in the last couple of seasons. So they're going to be motivated and coming in with a lot of confidence after being able to pull out this win against a pesky Sarnia Sting team. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to hear from IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau as well as Matt Virgilio for our player interview tonight, Cam's stick tap of the game. So stay right here. Be right back on the Dog Pound podcast and our IceDogs game recap right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Back after this.
Fuel up your day with Gales Gas Bars. They're your go-to gas station in the Niagara region. Remember, at Gales, they're not just a gas station, they're a local tradition. Whether you're hitting the road or staying cozy at home, choose Gales. Gales Gas Bars provide reliable fuel that keeps you moving. Stop in for quality you can trust and service with a smile. Don't settle for less. Head to Gales Gas Bars today. Because when it comes to fuel, you're going to Gales! Learn more at gales.ca.
The great guys over at Hockey Stick Man are sponsoring this video. If you play hockey but are sick of paying upwards of $400 for top-end sticks, check these guys out. There's seriously no better place to shop. The guys are fun, easy, and offer a stress-free experience from start to finish. They get pro stock sticks from major junior teams right up to the NHL teams and sell them for half the price that the same stick would sell for at a retail store. To further support their mission of saving hockey families money, they offer closeout options, which entail taking last year's retail models and blowing them out for less than wholesale prices. It's literally the best prices on the internet for their sticks. And the best sticks of all may be their Pro Blackout series, which provide a top-end stick with no graphics and literally less than half the price of a branded top-end retail model. It's always been their best-selling stick despite super cool pro stock options. It's a no-brainer to shop with these guys, and trust me, they are beauties. Head over to hockeystickman.ca/thearmchairgm and get $15 off your first order. That's hockeystickman.ca/thearmchairgm to get an additional $15 off your first order when you sign up on their website. Check out our friends at Hockey Stick Man.
Did you know that the global pet food stores in the Niagara region are all independently owned by members of the local community? We believe that pets are truly part of the family and are a source of joy in everyday homes around the world. Yet that living, loving experience usually doesn't happen all on its own, but takes extra effort to create and maintain. And we want you to know that the owners and staff at Global Pet Foods are always there to help you keep it going any way we can, because we believe. Proud show sponsor of the Dog Pound podcast, the official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs. We hope to see you at one of the following locations across Niagara: 3643 Portage Road in Niagara Falls, 160 Highway 20 in Font Hill, as well as 400 Scott Street and 344 Glendale Avenue in St. Catharines. Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family.
Wild Bill's Auto Repair is your local center for auto maintenance and repair in the Niagara region. Since 2012, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop has been helping customers stay safe and confident on the road, knowing their vehicles in top running condition through their services. Located at 7868 Oakwood Drive in Niagara Falls, the garage started as a tribute to the owner's father, William Robert Hunter, who passed away, continuing the same community spirit and high level of service which customers came to expect from him back at Hunter's Auto Repair. Their multi-award-winning auto shop has earned the trust of the Niagara community with its fair treatment of all customers, who can feel confident they'll get the trustworthy advice and repairs during their visit. Their experienced crew loves meeting new people and looks forward to forming a lasting partnership for the care of your cars. To find out more or to book a service, contact them today. 905-358-7868 or wildbillsauto.ca. Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012.
This is Kevin He.
This is Brady Waslin.
This is Ethan Zadig.
It's Owen Flores. This is the Dog Pound Podcast.
The official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs.
Welcome back to part 2 of today's Niagara IceDogs game recap, right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Brandon Caputo and Cam Halbert are back with you, continuing to break down the IceDogs' late regulation win over the Sarnia Sting here on a Friday night at the Meridian Centre. Thank you to everybody tuning in on our live stream on YouTube, on our Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and smash that bell. Stay up to date with all of our videos that get released on our YouTube channel. Thank you to those today listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. Cam, before we get to IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau, your thoughts on the pregame ceremony tonight with Brian Cullen and Marcel Dion, two hockey legends, and it's nice that we get 2 more banners hanging there from the Meridian Centre. A little bit extra juice, a little bit extra, inspiration for some of these players.
Yeah, and I think that some people might forget that there was, major junior hockey in Niagara before, the IceDogs came back as the IceDogs. But, Marcel Dion, one of the most famous, so definitely from the area. And it's crazy to think that he was 6th in scoring in the NHL history, which I think is, overlooked. But, no, it was great for Mr. Cullen and Dion and their family. And nice for the IceDogs franchise, to have a night be able to have a night like this. And hopefully it isn't the last banner that we raise.
Yeah, hopefully we see some other team banners and maybe some retired numbers from all of our great alumni over the past. But we'll wait and see if that happens. So we're going to take you to IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau on the Wild Bills Auto Repair postgame, brought to you by Wild Bills Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012 in honor of the late William Robert Hunter. Here's what the IceDogs head coach had to say following his team's comeback performance and bounce-back performance, not losing 2 games in a row here against the Sarnia Sting.
Huge win. How important was it after what happened last night to get right back on the win trail here?
Yeah, I think when you start playing enough games, you really start seeing some themes, and our theme is usually a resilient one. Yep. We've had a few one-offs where it's not that we've had a few bad games, we've just had really bad periods. 6 goals against that period, 4 against Barrie, and then I think 5 against Owen Sound, and you can kind of count them on one hand right now. But the resiliency for that group to play that the way they did, I knew in the heart of hearts that they were going to show up like that, and that's just something from being around these guys, knowing that they've got that type of character to keep coming back. So very, very proud, not of the result, but of the way they played.
For sure. And they could have got down again when they scored those 2 goals in the third period, and it seemed like that wasn't even an issue. Right? It just seemed like, they'll come back.
Yeah, and that's from being in that position before, where we have come back from those positions, and that's what experience does for you. And the young team that we have right now, especially with the guys up front, are learning how to play and how to respond, and that's part of the process. And very happy that Ryan scored 3, but not the fact that he scored 3, it's the way that he scored 3. I thought he was extremely noticeable with how physical he was tonight, more so than the fact he's a goal scorer. So I was really happy to see him lead the way in that retrospect.
Sure. You saw him last year. What's the difference between him last year and this year?
Just some maturity. He's yet to hit 17 years old, which is very, very scary. He's a young, mature kid that just wants it, right? But at the same time, sometimes you gotta hold his hand and show him the way. And this is a kid that had a terrible night. There's no way to cut it on Thursday. -5, 0 points, wasn't ready to go. But there's a lot of pride, and that's something that you can't teach, is that inner competition. And he was ready to play, and he's a young leader for our team, and that's exactly what he did. He came ready to play, and you're only as good as your last game. So we can remember the 0 points, -5 performance, or we can win him. We can remember the single-handedly where he won us the game with a hat trick, and that's the one that I want to make sure we're remembering.
Absolutely. One other thing. Again, Flores, I thought he was outstanding tonight. Maybe a little overshadowed, but he was there when you needed him to.
3 goals or less, it's another win. He's given us a chance, and listen, we had a lot of breakdowns, there's no question about it, but he was there when we did break down, and that's the same thing. He didn't have a good night. I thought his emotions were in check tonight, and that's when sometimes when his emotions aren't in check, that's when he gets off his game. But just like Rubric, just like Kevin, finding a way to respond, I thought Owen was phenomenal and responded in the best way he possibly could.
For sure, yeah.
Coach, you put Max Crete, you swapped him and Levin tonight. Was that just to try to get Mike Levin going? Obviously, he's been kind of in a slump for his goal scoring, but how did you like him up there with he and Loshko tonight?
I thought Levin was actually really good tonight, really, really good in that position. And offense is his game, and sometimes you got to give that guy an extra nudge, not just that guy, but any player that's kind of in a slump, a little bit of help. And Kevin and Loshko were really good, and I thought he played a really good game tonight. So I'm proud to see the way he responded.
A lot of responses, as you mentioned. Flores, Kevin, Ryan, Jack Brody, Ethan Zada, a lot of these guys had bounce-back games. So what does that say about the guys in there that you still haven't lost back-to-back games yet this year, that I'm sure is going to happen at some point in the year, but how pleased are you with their response after tough losses already early in the season?
I think that's just a testament to their character. Those guys have a lot of pride, and it's tough to be perfect every single night. And as a coach, you understand that, but at the same time, you got to make sure you go and do your job the next day. So for me, it's how do we keep them focused? How do we motivate them to be be better, not for themselves, but for the team. And I thought everybody played team first style hockey today and left the individual tendencies at home.
What did you think of the whole pregame ceremony? Marcel Dion and Brian Collin. Do you think that those guys, the guys on the bench, seeing some heroes and some hockey legends out there, maybe inspired them a little bit, gave them a little bit extra juice, or maybe you guys had to let them know who maybe some of those players were because they're a little bit younger than the most of us?
Well, I mean, I remember growing up with the Jack Gatecliff playing, in the Seymour Hanna and the Meridian. It's kind of past my time, but now as I'm coaching here, witnessing that type of memory when they hang the banners from the rafters is a very cool thing. And so hopefully one day, when I'm nice, old, and gray, I can come back, watch my kids play in this rink and still look up at those banners and remember the moment. Very cool part of history to be a part of with the city of St. Catharines. Very classy to honor those great human beings.
And lastly, going to Brantford for the final game of a 3-3. Obviously, you guys want to take them out. Is Flores going to be playing in that game as your starter?
I'm going to go check on it right now, but that has been the plan. If he is capable physically, he will play. And it's no offense to Robertson or Jeffrey or anybody else that we have, but the way he's playing when he's at the top of his game, he gives us the best chance to play. And like I said, we're hungry for points right now, and we've got to try to maximize it while we can.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
There was IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau on the Wild Bills auto repair postgame. Cam, what did you think from what the IceDogs head coach had to say? Talked about a lot of bounce-back performances from his guys, and it was nice to see tonight.
Yeah, and I like the praise that he gave for Rubric, and because he wasn't shy to bring up, that he had a really awful game last night, and you have to remember sometimes that he's not even 17. I think that's something that's he's got that late birthday, so it's something that you forget because he's been lighting up the league right now. He's more than a point per game, and he's one back of Kevin for the goal scoring lead on the team. But I like that he brought up Levin as well. I thought that Levin definitely had a stronger game. He's definitely snake bitten. He needs one or two to just go in for him, but he definitely was much more noticeable than he's been over the last few weeks of the season. And if they can get him going, even to 70% of what he was last year, where they relied on him far too much, I think, last year, but it would just be massive again as we wait for Asadorian and Waslin and as well as Matthew Parrish to come back. So very big, and I like the praise that they have. I like that he was open about Flores as well. Again, he's very honest in terms of how he talks about his team, and that Flores gives him the best chance to win. So as long as health is taken care of first, that Flores is going to go tomorrow in that 3-3, which we kind of expected, and we'll see how it goes against Brantford.
We get to our IceDogs feature play interview tonight, and that is with IceDogs defenseman Matt Virgilio, brought to you by Cully's Original Sports Bar, proud supporter of Niagara IceDogs hockey. Whether you're gearing up for the game or celebrating a big win, Cully's is the place to be before and after every IceDogs matchup. Just a short walk from the Meridian Centre. Cully's, it happens here. Here is Matt Virgilio. Got a couple of goals now in the season, getting accustomed to the Niagara IceDogs after coming over from the Sioux Greyhounds in an off-season trade. Let's see what he had to say. Well, Matt, after what happened last night again in that tough loss, giving up 9 goals, just talk about the fight back in your guys tonight and being able to have a bounce-back performance like that, still not lose 2 in a row this year. How proud were you of the effort tonight from the guys?
Yeah, it was huge. Obviously, we played really well tonight, stuck to our system. We knew, obviously after last night, that's not good enough in any world, so we came out today ready to go, and I was happy with it.
What did you think of the 80s jerseys? I know you weren't around for those years, neither were I, but what did you guys think of them, and did you like flying around out there with them on?
Yeah, they're awesome. I think whoever designed them, I don't know who, but did a great job, so that was a lot of fun, and it was a great night tonight.
Seems like it's when you're out there in the defensive end, there seems like there's a lot of grit back there. There's 4 new defensemen back there, including yourself. What's the mentality that you guys are told to play with on the back end? That it sounds like there's a lot of bruising plays out there, and you guys play really hard back there.
Yeah, just play hard. Obviously, all 4 of us that came, have that edge on our game. So just come out every night, play hard, and that's what we're here to do.
And lastly, when you're in a 3-3 stretch like this, when you go into the final game against Brantford, is it more so mental than anything else, where you're able to really fight through? Because it's not easy when you're playing 3 games in 3 nights. How do you kind of keep yourself grounded, keep yourself recovered, and everything?
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, I think Brantford hasn't played since Wednesday, and obviously we're here tonight, so we just got to be ready to go. Obviously, it's tough mentally, just don't get in your head about being tired. Just be ready to go from the hop and have our game.
And lastly, you've been here for 17 games now here in Niagara, getting adjusted here, coming down from the Sioux. How have you kind of felt like you're adjusted in there, getting, into the room there, really asserting yourself as more of a leader on that back end? How's it been, coming into this culture here?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great group of guys. Everyone gets along, and, everyone's really tight. So just happy with being here and playing for this organization. So I couldn't be happier.
Matt Virgilio on the postgame. Matt, thanks a lot, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
There was IceDogs defenseman Matt Virgilio on the Cullies, not the pregame report, the Cullies feature player interview tonight. Cam, we've liked what we've seen from Virgilio coming over. He's a steady presence from the Sioux. He's been able to pot in a couple of goals as of late as well. What did you think of, quickly, what he had to say and what you thought of him for his first 17 games as an IceDog?
I like that he knew that Brantford hadn't played since Wednesday. They've been sitting. So the reason why I like that is that, that one thought is that, the IceDogs they're ready, they're warm, maybe too warm after playing 2 straight games, but I'm curious to see how they play coming in to the first period. Maybe they go after it a little bit more. Brantford hasn't played in a little while. Maybe they're back on their heels a little bit. But it's interesting that, that some of the players, the ins and outs that you wouldn't think that they really maybe pay attention to, like they're looking already.
Yeah, that's interesting that you're right, that they know that the team that they're playing is going to be well rested, so they have to go in with their best effort right from the hop and hopefully not get down 1-0 again, which has been more times than not. And this one might not be a shock tonight, but regardless, our stick tap of the game brought to you by Hockey Stick Man, Pro Stock hockey sticks from major German teams right up to the NHL teams for half the retail price, a stress-free shopping experience. Check them out at hockeystickman.ca to join their mission in saving hockey families money. Cam is your, if it's not Ryan Robrick, then who is it tonight?
Well, I always try to find players that are off the box score, but no. Tonight, Ryan took over, saved the game at the end, and again, had a massive bounce-back performance, not just for himself, but for the team. And I have a feeling he's going to be fired up for tomorrow. And again, if they can win that game tomorrow, my goodness, that would mean a ton for them, especially after how they started this 3-3 against Erie, where it looked like things were going to really get away from them this weekend. We're still waiting for that. I think that maybe that's just us being tortured IceDog fans over the last couple of years. We're waiting for the wheels to fall off, and they haven't lost 2 in a row. So who knows? We'll see. Brantford has proven to be a thorn in the side of the IceDogs for the last couple of years, and maybe this year's different. Brantford is currently in 9th in the Eastern Conference, so who knows?
Yeah, Brantford is definitely not playing at their best right now. Maybe the IceDogs can get them at a good time. They're going to play them again next Sunday right back here at the Meridian Centre, which will be our next broadcast here following Sunday's game against the Brantford Bulldogs next Sunday here from the Meridian Centre. But Cam, was there anyone else that caught your eye? Ryan Robrick had 10 shots on net, 3 goals tonight. Is there anybody you want to mention as an unsung guy?
I liked what I saw from Crete. He made a couple of errors, but he was flying around. I noticed him trying to lay the body a little bit, and he actually, hammered someone behind the net as well. And again, when you don't expect it because, as a 16-year-old, and again, he's not the biggest guy, but, we've talked about him, or we heard about him when the draft was, that he was kind of going to be the fire starter on the team, and, he had a pretty good game. And again, he was asked to do a lot, and he moved down to the third line, and I thought he helped out quite a bit.
And the IceDogs are going to get a break after tomorrow's game. They're not going to play again until next Friday up in Guelph, and then next Sunday here at the Meridian Centre against the Brantford Bulldogs, which, again, will be our next broadcast. Cam, thanks for doing this. Hopefully they can pull out another 2 points here and make it a successful week. We talked about them being 500, and so far in the month of November, they're treading water there and still haven't lost back-to-back games. So we'll see up in Brantford tomorrow how it goes, but them picking up a win here is nice in the middle of the 3-3.
No, absolutely. Can't wait. Big game tomorrow.
That's going to wrap up another Niagara IceDogs game recap right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs, proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family in all 4 of their great Niagara region locations. Niagara IceDogs 4, Sarnia Sting 3, in front of 3,563 here at the Meridian Centre on a Friday night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. For Cam Halbert, my name is Brandon Caputo. We'll talk to you again next Sunday following the next home game against the Brantford Bulldogs. Have a good night.